Namaskar, I'm Uma Gajapati Raju.
And I'm Ramesh Sharma.
And welcome to India This Week.
With both the Bhartiya Janta Party and the Samajwadi Party staking a claim to form a government in Uttar Pradesh, the political scene in the state has suddenly become hectic. When the Mayawati government fell after the BJP withdrew its support, analysts were certain that with their respective strengths in the assembly, no political party was in a position to offer a stable government in UP.
Although all parties have asked for a dissolution of the assembly and called for fresh elections, the fact that the Uttar Pradesh assembly was kept in a state of suspended animation by the governor has prompted the BJP and the SP to try and cobble a working majority in the state assembly. In an exclusive report, India This Week examines the implications of this move and analyzes whether these parties are justified in claiming that they can offer a stable government in the state.
The political uncertainty in Uttar Pradesh took a dramatic turn this week, with both the Bhartiya Janta Party and Mulayam Singh Yadav's Samajwadi Party staking their claim to form a government. This volte-face on the part of the political parties in UP has come as a surprise development, especially since these very parties have all along been demanding for the dissolution of the assembly and fresh elections after the BSP government, led by Mayawati, tendered its resignation last week. The governor of Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Motilal Vora, had recommended imposition of president's rule but kept the assembly in a state of suspended animation. And the present breakup of the various political parties indicated that none were in a position to form a stable government. In the 425-member Uttar Pradesh Assembly, at present the BJP has 176 members. Mulayam Singh Yadav's Samajwadi Party 127, the Bahujan Samaj Party 59 and the Congress I 32. Although motives were imputed by some politicians as to the reasons why the assembly had not been dissolved by the governor, Mr. Motilal Vora claimed that he was following constitutional requirements as stated by the Supreme Court judgment in the dismissal of the S.R. Bommai case. In its judgment, the Apex Court specified that until such time the presidential proclamation is approved by both houses of parliament, the state assembly cannot be dissolved. However, he also was certain that no party was in a position to stake claim to form the government on the basis of its strength in the House. The political gambit this week by the BJP and the SP is seen by many observers as an attempt by both parties to preempt a move by the other in trying to form a government, taking advantage of the fluid situation prevailing in the state.
अगर आप सस्पेंडेड एनिमेशन में रख करके एक्सप्लोर करेंगे तो बीजेपी सिंगल लार्जेस्ट पार्टी होते हुए भी बाहर बैठी रहेगी क्या? और क्यों बैठी रहेगी भाई? आखिरकार राजनीति में है तो राज करने के लिए है ना।
हम अब भी कह रहे हैं हमारे लिए चुनाव सबसे बेहतर चीज़ है, लेकिन सरकार बनाई तो उसका एक ही फायदा होगा कि हम बीजेपी को रोकने में कामयाब होंगे, बीजेपी का जो डिजाइन है उसको रोकने में कामयाब होंगे।
The Congress party has reacted sharply to this move by the BJP and the SP.
Both these parties, immediately after the fall of government, had solemnly declared that they want fresh elections. Now they have taken a U-turn and trying to form the government. Now it is for governor to consider whether such things should be encouraged and whether a stable government can be formed. Then only he can take his decision.
Political observers agree that the attempts by both these parties will mean that there will be an intense round of political horse trading, as both the BJP and the SP will only be able to cobble a majority only if they are successful in luring MLAs from other parties to their fold. But leaders from both these parties deny any such move.
हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग की स्थिति इसलिए पैदा नहीं हुई कि हमें लोगों ने स्वयं अप्रोच किया। हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग होती है जहां आप खरीदो फरोख्त करते हैं, आप लोगों से कहते हैं आप हमारी सरकार बनवाइए। यहाँ तो एमएलएज ने आकर के कहा कि साहब हम आपकी सरकार बनाना चाहते हैं, आप सरकार बनाइए। हमने कहा फिर मंत्री पद मांगोगे, फिर भागोगे, तो बल्कि उन्होंने कहा साहब हमको मंत्री पद भी नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन आप सरकार बनाइए।
नहीं, हमको हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग की ज़रूरत नहीं। हम एक समझिए कि आइडियोलॉजिकल आधार पे अपना बहुमत करेंगे, वो है सांप्रदायिक ताकतों को रोकने के नाम पे पुनः हम सबको इकट्ठा कर सकते हैं।
Commentators also contend that the BJP's central leadership, having not yet fully recovered from the Gujarat fiasco, was not willing to intervene in the UP issue, especially since the local leadership led by Mr. Kalyan Singh seems adamant to try and form a government there.
जहाँ तक कल्याण सिंह जी का सवाल है, कल्याण सिंह वहाँ के लोगों के दर्द को ही जबान दे रहे थे। जो कुछ वहाँ का दबाव वहाँ के कार्यकर्ताओं का, वहाँ के लोगों का, वहाँ की जनता का कल्याण सिंह देख रहे थे, केवल उस बात को वो कह रहे थे। कोई वो सेंट्रल लीडरशिप को प्रेशराइज कर रहे थे, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है।
Moreover, commentators also argue that the BJP as well as the Samajwadi Party are keen to head a government in the state when the country goes for the Lok Sabha elections. The inherent advantage which observers feel an incumbent government enjoys has given fresh impetus to their bid to form a government in Lucknow. The focus of attention is now on the governor, Mr. Motilal Vora, who is examining the claims of support by the various parties. Analysts, meanwhile, are confident that if the political uncertainty looms large on the horizon, the governor may go ahead and recommend the dissolution of the assembly.
And now, the other news briefs of the week.
The Prime Minister, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, addressed the United Nations General Assembly on its 50th anniversary in New York on the 25th of October 1995. He urged the international community to fight the growing menace of terrorism and claimed that when sponsored and supported by states, terrorism becomes another means of waging war. The Prime Minister made a fervent appeal to the august body to take credible steps for the complete elimination of nuclear weapons within a stipulated time frame. Mr. Narasimha Rao also called for the restructuring of the permanent membership of the UN Security Council, seeking adequate presence of developing countries in the apex body.
The External Affairs Minister, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, expressed serious concern over the endorsement by the House-Senate Conference of the US Congress of the proposal to transfer a package of sophisticated military equipment to Pakistan through the waiver of provisions of the Pressler Amendment. Reacting to this development, Mr. Mukherjee said that the proposed transfer of advanced military equipment to a country which has always used such weaponry against India in the past and which is in the forefront in training and directing international terrorism and financing such activities through narco-trafficking will not promote peace, security and stability in South Asia. After a month-long turmoil in the ruling Bhartiya Janta Party in Gujarat, Mr. Suresh Mehta was unanimously chosen as the chief ministerial candidate by the party legislators under the watchful eyes of senior BJP leader Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Mr. Mehta was sworn in as the chief minister by the governor on the 21st of October 1995 after Mr. Keshubhai Patel resigned. The selection of Mr. Mehta followed a protracted spell of infighting between the rebel faction led by the parliament member Mr. Shankar Singh Vaghela and the then Chief Minister Mr. Keshubhai Patel. It was only after the BJP's central leadership persuaded Mr. Vaghela to come back into the party fold along with the rebel MLAs that the Keshubhai Patel ministry survived a vote of confidence in the assembly.
Mr. L.K. Advani was re-elected for a second consecutive term, the president of the Bhartiya Janta Party last week. Although this is the fourth time that Mr. Advani has been elected party chief by the BJP, he will have to steer the party successfully through the forthcoming parliamentary elections, as also prevent the dissidents from raising its head in the various state units of the party. Mr. Advani will, however, formally assume the presidency at the party's plenary session in Maharashtra due from the 10th of November to the 12th of November.
October the 24th, 1995. These preparations in Fatehpur Sikri near Agra were in anticipation of one of the rarest of celestial spectacles. Tens of thousands of people, including astronomers, scientists and tourists from India and abroad, had gathered here, as they did in many other towns of northern India, to witness a total solar eclipse. Along a 46-kilometer band width stretching from Bikaner in Rajasthan to Diamond Harbour in West Bengal, people were privileged to see the total eclipse of the sun, the penultimate of this century. To get a clearer view of the spectacular phenomenon, people had lined up at vantage points in Bharatpur, Nimka Thana in Rajasthan, Allahabad, Diamond Harbour and Fatehpur Sikri, among many places. For the amateur astronomers as well as tourists, the excitement was palpable.
This is a very enjoyable eclipse. This is my 9th eclipse. This is the most beautiful one I've seen in about the last 2 or 3. It was short, but it was beautiful.
While in Kurukshetra in Haryana, the battlefield of the epic Mahabharat, thousands of sadhus and pilgrims congregated to take a holy dip during the eclipse, an act of ablution considered by the religious to be extremely auspicious. India This Week's camera crew captured the event from the 16th century sandstone fort of Fatehpur Sikri, where the eclipse was absolutely total. researchers with telescopic paraphernalia and tourists with specially designed filters, goggles and pinhole cameras had descended on this historic fort to gaze at the sun. And the excitement built up as the shadow of the moon began engulfing the solar mass piecemeal, until the climactic formation of the total eclipse, plunging the area into complete darkness for nearly 50 seconds. The total eclipse was followed by the stunning image of the glistening diamond ring formed in the sky. Finally, when the celestial drama was over, it left the astronomers as well as the sundry sun-gazers enthralled by the sheer magnificence of the event.
The beautiful scene of a corona extending to a very large distance from the center place was beautifully seen and enjoyed by everybody.
The broadcast, cable and satellite exhibition, which opened in the country this week, is being attended by over 121 exhibitors and 600 delegates from all over the world. The boom in the electronic media has brought them all into the country to take part in this annual event. India This Week has an exclusive report on the exhibition, which provides a window to look at the latest advances in broadcasting technology.
A rash of software giants, a legion of hardware domos, and a sea of experts. The biggest ever global broadcast cable and satellite technology exhibition and conference held in the capital this week gathered minds and technological expertise from across the world to target and explore the potential of what probably is the largest television viewership and radio listenership in the democratic world.
Well, one of the things we like about India particularly in comparison to some other countries is that there's just a tremendous amount of programming available here. And we've always found that it's the programming that drives the growth of the industry. So we're very encouraged by that.
The four-day broadcast, cable and satellite India 95, organised by the country's Broadcast Engineering Society and Exhibitions India, not only showcased the best that broadcast technology had to offer, but was more crucially a forum to plan future investments in a rapidly exploding market, estimatedly worth $10 billion.
India is a big market. There's a lot of people here and there's a large opportunity for broadcasting. Really what drives the broadcasting opportunity is the opportunity for advertising. Privatization is based on advertising, and there's a tremendous opportunity for radio and television broadcasting in India, and thus for radio and television stations to carry it.
While 120 exhibitors from over 30 countries displayed state-of-the-art video, audio, cable and satellite equipment, international conferences held alongside discussed software programming content in a changing scenario, enhanced broadcast systems and convergence of television and computers in the age of multimedia and information highways. For participants, the writing on the airwaves was clear. With a liberalized economy spurring gradual privatization of radio, television and cable industries, global giants can ill afford to ignore a 900 million audience thirsting for unfettered information and entertainment. And with a revolution happening in the skies and on the ground, there could be no better time to join the Indian sweepstakes than now.
For the next segment, India This Week brings you the news in brief from the world of business.
The Reserve Bank of India has allowed commercial banks to extend interim finance against firm commitments already made by financial institutions or other banks. This amounts to a partial easing of the ban on bridge loans clamped under the slack season policy announced in April this year. The ban on bridge loans against the proceeds of an impending capital issue, however, remains. Reserve prices for shares of 3 out of 4 public sector organizations up for disinvestment were fixed below their prevailing market price by their merchant bankers this week. The pricing has been approximately 5% below market rates for scrips of Mahanagar Telephone Nigam Limited, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation and Steel Authority of India Limited. Experts feel that the downturn in the PSU scrips following lukewarm response to the disinvestment program has made it difficult to peg the reserve prices at higher levels.
India's first formal introduction to the heady world of cyberspace took place this week at a national workshop on internet held in the capital by the Manufacturers Association of Information Technology. Participants, which include...
What comes to my mind is advertising, or put differently, to provide information about their products and services.
Gopi Gajwani is a multifaceted talent, cartoonist, photographer and painter. Among his photographic essays are sensitive books on Rajasthan, Calcutta and the Sarod maestro, Amjad Ali. But he prefers to be known as an artist, a painter whose abstract works have been appreciated by connoisseurs. In an exclusive report, India This Week profiles Gopi Gajwani at work on his new exhibition of paintings, which opens next week. But before that, the other news briefs from the world of arts, media and entertainment.
The first taste of freedom and an emotional comeback to the tinsel world. Film star Sanjay Dutt, who was released on bail last week after 15 months in jail, announced at a press conference in Bombay this week that he intended to get back to films in the near future. In a written speech, Sanjay thanked the media and the film industry for standing by him through his travails. Later, talking to journalists, he said that his first priority would be to complete projects that have been hanging fire ever since he was incarcerated for his involvement in the Bombay blasts.
My priorities are the pictures who I have to complete, people who waited for me.
Some hidden talents need an occasion to surface. And Union Minister of State for Mines, Mr. Giridhar Gomang, chose the National Mineral Awards function this week to unveil the latent cultural aspect of his persona. In a function in the capital to felicitate outstanding Indian geoscientists and technologists, Mr. Gomang's cultural troupe presented a program of tribal dances and music of Orissa.
Noted filmmaker Meera Nair's much talked about project based on the famous Indian classic Kama Sutra has begun to roll. The film, titled Tara and Maya, is set in 16th century India and recalls an era of Indian history which celebrates our ancient philosophy, spiritualism and heritage.
I feel it is extraordinary that a country that has originated such texts and such philosophy, where sexuality, when ultimately done and dealt with beautifully, can be spiritual, can be emerging with God. We must at least return to that in some senses, and that is the idea for the film.
Meera's international cast includes versatile Indian actress Rekha in the role of an attractive dancer.
India's colonial past. An epoch inescapably intertwined with the country's history and contemporary times. An enduring area of interest for historians, sociologists and anthropologists and the paparazzi. Grabbing the glory and the nostalgia, the slavery and the cruel irony of the times is an exhibition of photography in India in the period 1850 to 1900 on in the capital's National Gallery of Modern Art. Organised by the British Council and the Department of Culture, the exhibition, which will be shown around the country, displays facsimile reproductions of 162 photographs shot by British and Indian lensmen, the most notable being Samuel Bourne and Lala Deen Dayal. Lending a whiff of the past are images archival in worth and documentary in quality.
Some of the pictures we find really artistic already for the time. And since there's one particular Indian photographer, obviously, who has been capturing Indian life for a long time already, he has been quite an artist for his time, and I think could even match many photographers nowadays still, if you think of the equipment that was available at the time.
The deft strokes of the brush, a few quick dabs on the palette, and gradually a frisson of colours spreading on the canvas. The sight might not move every beholder of art, but for the connoisseur, these paintings reflect the mystique and complexity of an artist peacefully lost in his own quiet little world. The abstract realm of the Delhi-based painter Gopi Gajwani. A product of the Delhi School of Art, Gajwani, in his entire career spanning nearly 35 years, has steadfastly stuck to abstract art, barring a few flings with forms and figures in his early years.
This is the language which I like most, and I understand most, and I enjoy most. My college time, my art school time, I used to draw a lot of realistic work, but slowly I migrated from that. And I don't know why I did that. It just came so naturally. And I changed my language. Just as you convert yourself, you change your religion.
And nothing delineates the 57-year-old painter's abiding love for the abstruse than his exhibition, which will open at the capital's Gallery Espace next week. Whether the subjects concern life's rhythm, reflections, silence or dreams, Gajwani's works on oil, mixed media and watercolors continue to traverse the transcendent. But at rare moments when the preoccupation with the soft brush gives way to the lens and the aperture, the intensity of abstractionism is transformed into bursts of creative energy that propels the skillful photographer in him. In his occasional flirtations with the still camera, Gajwani's experience as painter has helped him exploit natural light to the hilt in capturing moods and ambiances that evoke a certain timelessness and classic feel about them.
I use this medium as a work of art, not as a photography, but I use each frame is my canvas. So I think it's a very powerful medium, and I enjoy it.
Among his pictorial peaks of achievement are his hefty contributions for travelogues on Rajasthan and Calcutta, besides the recently released biography of the Sarod maestro Amjad Ali Khan, a book which he also designed and did the layout for. But for Gajwani, the painter and paparazzi, perhaps the most freewheeling of his outlets is his yen to draw line illustrations and caricatures of personalities and celebrities, an area which gives him the scope and room to explore the human psyche through the external veneer of faces.
To keep the character of a face with distortion, I think it's not easy, and I enjoy doing that. You distort it so much, and yet you keep the character. It's not only resembling the face, you bring out, in a caricature, you bring out the inner feeling of a person, inner character of a person on few lines.
While Gajwani's cartoons and pictures have earned him an enviable niche in the top league, emotional and spiritual sustenance at the end of the day still comes from the smell of fresh canvas and wet colors. Indeed, it seems that pictures and illustrations are at best creative distractions in the larger portrait of a multifaceted painter obsessed with a universe beyond the frontier of meaning.